Today we're taking point slope formula just a little bit further when they give you just 2 points. Now we know point slope formula we use when you're given a point and the slope. But for today, we're going to have to find the slope. So we're going to be also using the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's look at what this looks like. When you're given a problem, we're writing our answer in slope-intercept form, just like our last set of problems. But to do that, we want to use point slope formula. Well, we have one of our points, but we have to find this slope piece. So we're going to go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It is best to label your points, x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is negative 7 minus 1 over 0 minus 2, which gives me negative 8 over negative 2, which is a positive 4. So my m is going to be 4. That's what I'm going to use over here. And we really get to pick which ordered pair we want to use. I'm just going to use the first one for the sake of it being labeled properly. Y minus my y1, which is 1, and x minus x1, which is a 2. We distribute just like we're used to, and we have 4x minus 8. Add the 1, and we have 4x minus 7. So we've really not done anything new in these problems. You already knew how to calculate slope over here, and then we went over how to use point slope formula. So it's just putting the two together. So for this problem, this would be a good opportunity for you to copy down the problem and pause the video so you could give it a shot yourself. For those of you that need to see another example worked out, let's do this together. We'll label our points as x1, y1, and x2, y2. We'll begin by finding our slope. Our slope formula, it's on our formula chart, so we do not have to memorize it. But the formula calls for minus signs in the numerator and the denominator. So y2 is a negative 2 minus a negative 6 over 2 minus a negative 6. All this minus and negative business becomes plus a positive. So I have a 4 over 8, which is a 1/2. So my slope is a 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and use my x1, y1 just because they're labeled that way, and it just makes it a little bit easier for me. So y minus a negative 6 equals a 1/2, because that's the 1/2 we just calculated for our slope, times x minus a negative 6. Minus a negative means plus a positive. We distribute. So I have y plus 6 equals 1/2 x plus a 3 minus 6. Y equals 1/2 x minus a 3. So remember, we're going to find slope first. And then we're going to plug in the slope we just found. As well as the x1 and the y1. So we'll give this one more go again. If you can use this as an opportunity to practice it yourself, pause the video here and give this problem a try, and then come back to check your work. So these are going to be x1 and y1 and x2, y2. We'll calculate the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have a 2 minus a negative 4, and I have a 3 minus a 1. So I have a 6 over a 2, which is a 3. So my slope is a 3. So I found my slope. And I'm going to use this in my formula. And again, I like to just use my first ordered pair. So y minus a negative 4 equals 3 times x minus a 1. Minus a negative means plus a positive, so I have y plus a 4 over here. 3 times x gives me a 3x, and 3 times a negative 1 would give me a negative 3. Minus a 4 to both sides, so y equals 3x minus a 7.